Hi, Taylor T. Carlson here, and time for horror movies today. We're going to go back and look at one of my favorite horror movies of all time, which has gotten a 4K release, albeit not domestically, so what I have is an import version. This is George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. This one will forever be known for its classic tagline, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." I'm going to take a look at this import release, unbox it, talk about the movie, the features, share my opinion, and let you know if I recommend this release. Now, I do want to clarify, this is a 4-disc set which has 3 cuts of the movie in 4K, plus a bonus feature disc that's in the Blu-ray format. There is a bigger, more elaborate set that has the various cuts of the movie on Blu-ray also, in addition to some soundtrack CDs. This one's a little more stripped down, but it's also more affordable and, of course, in my case, accessible to American buyers. I actually found an eBay seller in America that was selling this. I was able to get it for a decent price. So let's go ahead and start our unboxing. Got the classic cover art there. Really no arguing with that. That looks absolutely gorgeous, even all these years later. Spine text with the logo from the film. Opposite spine from the inner case there. Top is just plain. The bottom of the backing card has our region information, content rating, and so forth. Backing card has a description of the movie, the various cuts and what's on each disc, as well as the bonus disc. Then all our credits and legalese and so forth. We take away the backing card. Underneath, you just have a plain bottom. And on the back, you have the classic tagline, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." So let's take this out of the slipcover now. Here's our cover with the zombies wandering aimlessly in the helicopter in the sky. That looks gorgeous. There's the spine. Back of the cover. If we fold these open, you get sort of a panoramic image there, and that looks absolutely gorgeous. On this side, we have our discs. Disc 1 is the best-known cut of the movie, the 1978 theatrical release. Disc 2 is the extended Cannes Film Festival cut of the movie. Disc 3 is the Argento Cut, which is actually a cut, shorter version of the movie that removes a lot of the more comedic moments and so forth, just focusing on the gore and the carnage. And then disc 4 is our only Blu-ray in the set, that being the bonus features. With the U.S. in the grip of a zombie apocalypse, 4 desperate survivors find refuge in a shopping mall. But the flesh-eating hordes, still possessed by an instinctive desire to consume, are drawn to the same destination. What follows is a nail-biting fight for survival. George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead remains one of the greatest horror movies ever made, often imitated but never equaled, and is now presented in a brand new restoration. What can be said about Dawn of the Dead that hasn't already been said? When it comes to zombie movies, this is quite possibly the greatest one ever made. I mean, you certainly have plenty of gore and violence, so that'll satiate the cravings of people who want that sort of thing. But then you also have this sort of commentary and satire on the world of consumerism and commercialism, shown by zombies who stick to their guns even after they've died, still paying a visit to the shopping mall. And of course, our heroes wanting to make that their destination and their new home in this world of a zombie apocalypse and future uncertainties. I mean, the cast of the movie consists largely of unknowns. The only person in the movie that I'd actually heard of as far as the central cast go is Ken Foree, who plays one of the police officers who's a survivor, and I know him best because in the 1990s he played Keenan's father on the classic Nickelodeon sitcom Keenan and Kel. The special effects work in the movie was done by Tom Savini, one of the absolute best in the business. He, of course, cameos in the movie as a member of a biker gang. And it is interesting to see how the plight of these characters unfolds in these uncertain times. I mean, at times it's one of the most violent movies ever made, and at times it's surprisingly comedic, albeit not in the way that you'd probably expect. I certainly would not call this a comedy by any means, but there were a few moments, particularly with some of the dated 70s music playing over the loudspeakers of the mall, juxtaposed against zombies wandering and feeding on flesh, that did have me giving off a few laughs. I mean, there's not much I can say about Dawn of the Dead that hasn't already been said, but it's one of my personal favorites, and I'm very happy that I was able to get my hands on a 4K version at long last. Who knows if we're ever going to get a domestic release of this. Of course, if we do, I'll be first in line to pick it up, and I'll review it on this channel as well. I did have an earlier Blu-ray disc release of Dawn of the Dead, and that was not a bad-looking release by any means, although some of the areas had a lot of pretty heavy grain spiking, and it did look a little inconsistent. This 4K version of the film looks much better and much more consistent throughout. Demo material for your home theater, this will never be, but it's nicely cleaned up. You get the improved black levels, but it looks great throughout. The colors are pretty vibrant when they have to be. Those deep dark black shadowy levels in the areas that zombie attacks happen, of course, those get the uptick you'd expect. There are 3 cuts of the movie here, and all of them look absolutely fantastic. The Argento Cut does not have HDR, but again, even it actually looks pretty solid. The theatrical cut's probably the big winner here, but it and the can cut don't look overly different. I mean that in a good way, of course. And you do get commentary tracks on all 3 of the movie discs. Again, the disc that has the bonus features on it is region locked, so I unfortunately wasn't able to watch that on my player, but I was able to check out some of those features using my computer Blu-ray player and external drive. And I'll read just a few of the things that are on here. There's a new Zombies and Bikers featurette, a Memories of Monroeville tour of the mall, a Raising the Dead production logistics featurette, the FX of Dawn with Tom Savini, Dummies, an interview with Richard France, the Lost Romero Dawn interview, Super 8 mall footage, Document of the Dead, the extended cut, nice documentary on the making of the film, Document of the Dead definitive cut with optional commentary, The Dead Will Walk documentary, and then various trailers, TV, and radio spots. So that disc is actually packed with bonus features, so even if you're in the United States, you might want to consider downloading one of those computer Blu-ray players and buy an external drive so you have a means of watching that stuff. It is pretty informative and entertaining. I don't know if we'll ever get a proper domestic release of this film on 4K, but I am quite happy with this import, and until I can get a version of the movie that's properly released in the United States, this will certainly suit me well. Absolute highest recommendations for this release. Are you a fan of Dawn of the Dead? Do you think it's the greatest work to ever come from George A. Romero? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content, as I'm always posting new videos, and be sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.